Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego, and this video is an updated, easy to understand, easy to follow K1 visa application process. Watch the video. You don't need to hire an immigration attorney. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an immigration attorney. And if you've got a time to watch this video, I've got time to help you. I've got 11 years plus experience processing K1 visas and green card applications. My beautiful wife Karina is from Venezuela. We got married on the beach here in Florida. She has her 2-year conditional green card, and in next year we're going to apply for her 10-year permanent residency card. But come on along, watch this video, and it will help new persons who have no clue how to process a K1 visa application. This video is for you. It's going to help you without an immigration attorney. Oh, I'm not an immigration attorney myself, and I don't give you any legal advice, and I don't work for USCIS. There you go. There's a disclaimer for you. The K1 Fiancé Visa Document All-Inclusive Checklist. What you need to do to apply for a K1 Fiancé visa. You got to submit 2 sets of documents, okay? One goes to USCIS, Louisville, Texas. The other is prepared for the U.S. Embassy or Consulate for the visa interview. Now I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you. So this is so easy, you don't need to hire an immigration attorney. You don't need to be spending that money. So what are the required forms and what are the documents for the K1 visa application, for the fiancé visa application? Well, first you're going to need USCIS form I-129F, petition for alien fiancé, filled out by the U.S. citizen sponsor, and it goes to Louisville, Texas. The beneficiary fills out DS-160 form, which is the non-immigrant visa application, and that goes to the embassy or consulate. Form I-134 is the declaration of financial support filled out by the U.S. citizen sponsor to prove the U.S. citizen can financially support their future husband or wife. Okay? Passports must be valid for at least 6 months beyond the U.S. entry date. Birth certificates must be provided, an original and a certified copy from the fiancé's home country, and a medical exam on Form I-693, which is done by a USCIS approved physician in your country. Police clearance certificates required for all countries where you've lived or worked for more than 6 months since you turned 16 years of age. Lots of proof of the relationship, photos, message travel records, engagement details, divorce, certified divorce decrees and death certificates if either partner was previously married. Passport size photos, one for each the fiancé meeting, one for each fiancé, and meeting the photo requirements of USCIS. Okay, police certificates have to be from every country that you ever lived or worked in for 6 months or longer. So let's suppose you're from the Philippines and you had a job in Singapore for 6 months and you had a job in Hong Kong for 6 months. You got to get police certificates from Hong Kong, Singapore, and the Philippines. You got it? All right. It's easy, right? Now these are the required documents for the Form I-129F petition. This is the USCIS stage where you mail it to Louisville, Texas. The U.S. citizen petitioner must file I-129F with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, okay? And you got to include the following documents with this application. Number 1, make sure the form is current and not obsolete. You got to complete the Form I-129F. This is the official petition to request a K1 visa. You got to show proof of U.S. citizenship, which could be the biographic page of your passport, U.S. passport, a copy of your birth certificate or naturalization certificate. You got to provide proof of intent to marry, letters of intent to marry from both partners confirming that they are going to marry each other within 90 days when the foreign fiancé arrives in America. And proof of in-person meeting. You got to prove you met each other. And evidence that the couple has met in person at least once in the past 2 years. Boarding passes, flight tickets, visa stamps, hotel reservations, social media, email, photos together, chat conversations, passport size photos, one for each fiancé, which must meet USCIS photo requirements. Relationship evidence is important. Additional documents proving a genuine relationship. Okay? Photos of engagement parties. Don't use cultural clothes though. Travel records showing visits to see each other, screenshots of emails, call logs, chats, etc. Certified copies of divorce or death certificates. Got to be certified by the clerk of the court. Okay? You just can't make a copy on a copy machine. You got to have a certified wet ink copy. And the filing fee as of 2025 for an I-129F is $675. So we fund our own K-1 visas. We fund our own paperwork. It's not so much taxpayer funded. It's funded by the clients who are requesting the benefit. And remember, on those letters of intent to get married, if your partner doesn't speak English, that person has to write the letter of intent to get married in his or her native language, and then you, Mr. Sponsor, have to get it translated into English by a certified translator. Very important. Now, what documents are needed for Form DS-160? This is your online visa application. The beneficiary can fill it out, or the sponsor can fill it out. If the sponsor fills it out, you've got to identify yourself as a helper for this. Once USCIS has approved the I-129F, the case moves to the National Visa Center in New Hampshire, and they will schedule the interview for spousal visas, but not for K-1 visa applications. Okay? You complete the Form DS-160, Department of State Form 160. The online non-immigrant visa application must be filled out entirely. And you got to have a valid passport that has not expired and one 5x5 centimeter color photograph taken within the last 6 months. These have to meet the U.S. visa photo requirements, okay? A sealed medical exam, report USCIS Form I-693. A medical exam from an embassy-approved, State Department-approved physician, okay? Ensure that all the details in the DS-160 match your passport and I-129F information so you don't get any RFEs or delays. Documents needed for Form I-134, the Declaration of Financial Support. The U.S. citizen petitioner must prove financial strength to support their fiancé by filling out Form I-134, Declaration of Financial Support, and signing it and dating it. The beneficiary doesn't fill this out. It is signed by the U.S. citizen petitioner, not by the beneficiary. You got to prove your income, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, your most recent tax return, your 1040, your tax transcripts, your W-2s or 1099 forms, recent pay stubs, at least 6 months worth, employment verification letter, a letter from your boss saying what your job is, where you work, how long you've been working there, etc. 12 months worth of bank statements showing available funds and financial stability, and it shows where your direct deposit income is going to, right? Proof of assets if you need to, okay? But I recommend you get a joint sponsor if your income is not sufficient, not use your assets, okay? Get a joint sponsor, co-sponsor. If you need a co-sponsor, if you don't meet the 125% poverty guideline, you must get a joint sponsor. Okay, and they submit an I-134 also with the same financial documents as the petitioner. Okay, the minimum required income changes each year, so you got to check to make sure you're currently under the current poverty guidelines before you apply for this benefit. Now let's go over the required documents for the K-1 visa, the K-1 visa interview at the embassy or the consulate. Once the I-129F petition is approved, the case then goes on to the National Visa Center, which is in New Hampshire. Then the U.S. Embassy or consulate, where the foreign fiancé will attend the interview, okay, and the following documents are required. On the I-129F, you identify where you want to have this visa interview. You get the DS-160 confirmation page. It's got to be with your fiancé, which is the online non-immigrant visa application. You got to complete it and print the confirmation page, okay? And a valid passport. The foreign fiancé's passport must be valid for at least 6 months, I repeat, beyond the intended entry date. Unless you're in Brazil, then it has to be 9 months. The medical exam in a sealed medical exam envelope, I-693. I recommend you get the medical exam about 2 weeks before your K-1 visa interview. Police clearance certificates, okay, from each country you've lived in since the age of 16 or worked in. This is a criminal background check on your background, okay? Your birth certificate must be original with a certified copy. from the fiance's home country. So you bring the original and a certified copy to the interview. The I-134, the Declaration of Financial Support, must be the original I-134 signed by the U.S. citizen sponsor. You cannot send a PDF copy. Okay? And then you got to pay the visa interview fee, which is required before attending the K-1 visa interview. The DS-160 is a free form, by the way. You got to continue collecting evidence of your ongoing relationship, continue your communication, keep printing your emails, your chat logs, etc. And if you have any wedding plans, what is the venue? You got to have wedding plans, even though you don't have a date yet. Okay? Bookings, invitations, updated photos together, and bring the originals and copies of all documents to the K-1 visa interview. You got to have wedding plans in place. You got to have an engagement party. You should at least have an engagement ring, but don't wear the engagement ring to the visa interview. Okay? It may be misconstrued as a wedding band. If you have an engagement party, which you should do, make sure it's in regular street clothes, not in cultural clothes, so the immigration officer doesn't think you got married. Okay? Very important. If any of the documents are missing at your K-1 visa interview, okay, or if you mail them to USCIS with missing documents, you're going to get an RFE, a request for further evidence, or you could get a visa refusal under the 221G. And this could be a big problem, okay? It can cause months and months of delays. So double check all of your paperwork before you submit it. Make sure you signed your I-129F. Make sure all the forms are filled out correctly. You spelled your fiance's name correctly on the I-129F. You provide a strong relationship evidence. You've been dating together for what, a year, 2 years? You've made 2 or 3 trips to visit your fiance in his or her home country. You have a couple of albums full of evidence. You've kept all your dinner date receipts. You can identify where you went to eat and dated each other, where you went. When I was engaged to Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, when I was in Bogota, Colombia, every restaurant we went to eat dinner at, I kept the receipts and identified it in the K-1 visa application. Okay, so we went to eat once a week, say at a different restaurant. I kept the receipts. I identified the restaurant. We took pictures together in the restaurant. Say, hey, this was a dinner date, at Viva La Pizza in Bogota, Colombia, or wherever it was. So when I submitted the K-1 visa application, I had about 20 receipts from 20 different restaurants that we went to on dinner dates, photos together, etc. You got to prove a strong, real relationship, and first of all, you got to qualify for the benefit. You got to qualify for the benefit. You can't have any major felony arrests, Mr. American Citizen Sponsor. You can't have a problem with a criminal record. If you have a criminal record, this would be the time to have an immigration attorney review your criminal record before you submit a K-1 visa application. Just my opinion. Hang in there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This was just an overview of the basics for processing a K-1 visa application. If you find the video was helpful and it helps you get your K-1 visa, that's great. This is all we want. My wife, Karina, is from Venezuela. She wishes you the best of luck with your K-1 visa application, and so do I. And we do live streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you at the next live stream. If you want to chat and hang out with us,